Distractions on the spiritual journey. Now, distractions, they can come in various forms and they differ from person to person. However, I have brainstormed 5 distractions that I personally have faced on the spiritual journey, and this is a topic that is close to my heart because it is probably one of the biggest challenges that I face on my spiritual path, just constantly losing focus because the world is full of all of these things that try to attract me and distract me. So without further ado, let's get to distraction number 1: materialism. Now, it is natural for us to desire in this lifetime, yet sometimes we can get overly fixated on accumulating material possessions and placing our focus outside of oneself, placing our focus in a material world that is ultimately finite and cannot bring a lasting sense of fulfillment and joy or peace. And things like the law of attraction, oh, it is incredible. It's an amazing teaching. And the law of attraction, I think it does serve a purpose. We go through this phase where we can be in complete awe at the power that we actually do contain within our mind and as human beings in this lifetime. But ultimately, the importance of it kind of dwindles as we come to know how we can better evolve our soul in this lifetime. Number 2, attachment to pleasure. So life these days is full of stimulation, and we are constantly subjected to an excessive amount of artificial stimulation every day. Artificial stimuli is literally intelligently designed to lure us in and keep us hooked. As a result, many of us are overstimulated and slaves to our dopamine fixes. We have a hungry appetite for highly stimulating activities, and many find themselves overindulging and constantly seeking the next pleasure, never truly satisfied. Technology, drugs, food, sex, getting preoccupied with pleasure is a big distraction on the spiritual path, as our attention is absorbed by that which is temporary. Pleasure cannot provide us lasting fulfillment, and we will always be hungry for more. Don't get me wrong, pleasure in life, it can be a beautiful thing, to experience life's pleasures. However, some kind of balance and some kind of level of detachment from these momentary highs and more of a focus towards spiritual growth. That's the kind of thing that will bring us this lasting sense of fulfillment and peace and joy that actually emanates out of us. We're not looking for it externally. We're not looking for it again in something that is finite. I particularly struggle with this one myself, and it has been a challenge for me in my lifetime, and I work very closely with this one. And if you want more information about this, check out my video titled How Overstimulation is Numbing You to Life. I will put the link below. Number 3, spiritual ego. Now, of course, ego is a distraction on the spiritual path in many different ways. However, I want to draw attention specifically to spiritual ego. Now, many would perceive the spiritual path as one that would seek to transcend our limited sense of self, to transcend the mind, the body, and this sense of separation. Yet the irony is that as we awaken to the gnosis that is found on the spiritual path, and we wake up to see much of the humans around us still sleepwalking their way through reality, there is a creeping narrative that forms, one that likes to believe that we are special in some way. And subtly, over time, this can form into a brand new sense of self. And this can be a huge distraction on the spiritual path as we strive to see past the illusion of separation. Yet, in the background, the ego is thriving and creating this alternative spiritual identity. So if you want to learn more about this, check out a video that I did about spiritual narcissism. I will link that below. And again, this kind of often comes a lot at the beginning of our awakening, like it's a little bit of like immaturity in a way, spiritual immaturity maybe. And I see it everywhere. I think it's a big problem. um, but the thing is that what I found with dealing with my own is actually the light of awareness can dissolve it. It's all about just being aware of the thoughts that we are thinking at any given moment. Number 4, lack of discipline. Now, I once heard someone say that we are not distracted as such, we are more attracted to things and then we move in that direction. So, in order to stop giving into our attractions in this world that presents us with many attractions all the time, we must develop discipline to resist our urges. Now, we must discipline the mind and we must master it so that we are in the driver's seat of our life. With spiritual seeking, it requires consistency and dedication. Whatever your spiritual practice is, undoubtedly, it will require consistency, because what we practice, we get better at. Now, if we're seeking to maintain our connection to ourself, to spirit, to God or source, whatever you want to call it, then for me personally, I need consistency. I need to stay focused. I need to stay disciplined. If not, I lose track of it all. And I'm talking about little things like, I'll just stay up one more hour and then miss my practice the next morning. No, I make myself, no, I need to go to bed so that I can wake up and I know it's going to make me feel good to do my practice. Things like, I'll just watch another YouTube video instead of picking up my book and reading this spiritual text that I want to, which I know is what I should do rather than watching some random stuff on YouTube. And it's like that urge that we get to really pick up that more stimulating thing again. Maybe like even sitting there in meditation, when you're in your meditation practice and you've got this person on your mind or something that feels really good to think about, instead of indulging in excessive thinking about this person or this thing that again stimulates us, no, drop that thought. I'm not here to think about this. Disciplining ourselves in those areas. And now discipline, it comes through seeing results. It comes through having faith, and of course actually mastering the mind space, realizing that we don't have to give in to those voices, whatever they're saying. We're not a slave to it. Number 5, people. Now, I was a little bit hesitant to put this on the list when I was brainstorming. However, I wanted to create the list based on my own experiences. So, people made it on the list. People can be very all-consuming and massively influential. They can quickly shape the way that we think and act in the world. And people may be negatively influencing us in many ways. I once met a lovely lady and she was on a spiritual journey, and then she told me that she met her husband, or her boyfriend I think it was at the time, and she left it all behind because he didn't support her path. And that is absolutely fine. This is part of her journey. There's no right or wrong, but nevertheless, people bring disbelief, they bring temptation, they bring ridicule, they bring judgment and things like that, and other negative influences that can really distract us from our path. And we are social creatures. We can quite easily be led astray as a result of this. So I just think that it's a good idea to just be mindful and use our discernment in life and try to be true to ourselves. Do what we believe in and do what we want and live our life rather than other people's. Now, as you can see, I'm halfway up a mountain in the middle of nowhere right now, and as I was walking up here, I was trying to be present, but I thought about another distraction, and I just want to mention it quickly. So I'm talking about things like conspiracy theories. We can get a little bit too overly fixated on the conspiracy theories. Our focus maybe then in outside of oneself again, rather than looking inside of oneself, dealing with our own with our own darkness, essentially, with our inner world is the realm of cause. So therefore we want to direct our attention inwards rather than externally, and getting lost in a lot of the fear that is in our world. A lot of new age concepts, things like astral travel, extraterrestrial life forms, out of body experiences, seeing into other dimensions. Now, don't get me wrong, all of this, it is so much fun, and I love these aspects of awakening. It's great. It's discovering deeper truth at the end of the day, and it's all relevant to our journey. There are definitely worse distractions. However, we can sometimes get a little bit, maybe, I find anyway, overly fixated on this, and it's all, a lot of it's mind stuff, it's belief systems, and its concepts. But for me personally, spiritual growth comes through transcending mind and embodying what we are beyond all the mind stuff. It comes through inner transformation, through healing, inner exploration, mastering the mind, self-realization. Um, so yeah, like very kind of deep aspects of spiritual growth. And yeah, the spiritual awakening is kind of sprinkled with all of these little things on top, which can be so much fun. But I don't want to use them as a distraction from really going inside myself. So ultimately, yes, distractions, they come to challenge us. They are part of our path. They are kind of essential in a way for our growth, but they can also hinder our growth, and really, yeah, kind of hinder our progress. So we want to be mindful, and just aware more than anything. I haven't really gone into any of the solutions, what we can do to avoid these distractions in this video, but more than anything, I think it's just bringing them to our conscious attention, bringing them out of the subconscious to the conscious, so we can really observe them, be mindful of them, and watch ourselves do this, through the light of awareness. Then we're able to really dissolve these distractions. So thank you so much for watching this video. My name's Jasmine. If you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe. I'm offering free 25-minute video calls if you want to speak to me one-on-one. And yeah, thank you. See you in the next video. Bye 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 bye.